Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Facing the Music with Terry Oldfield. My name is John Valdivia, producer at ithesound.com. This series, curated from candid conversations, will introduce a return to the mystery and wonder of existence, as well as our necessity to confront ourselves. We shall also feature selected pieces from Terry's extensive musical anthology. In this episode, Terry discusses his critical breakthroughs, his old way of living, and how the walls of his life have come tumbling down. He raises questions about the nature of life and our existence in it. Welcome to Facing the Music.
For me, any breakthrough has come when I have been able to see the world doesn't really need me. It does its own thing. So, old ways of being or acting can be more easily let go of. When you start to see that there is a flow, a natural flow of creation through this now moment, which is perfectly able to keep flowing without me. I'm not needed. And the only reason I ever was needed was to keep my fortress well defended. And from this flow, and to keep my walls nicely, or my windows nicely polished, and make sure my view was nice because I only allowed trees and nice things to be seen. Death was always swept under the carpet. Anything to do with conflict in relationships, this is just for me personally, was glossed over as though it was not really a problem, And emotions were held fast down if they were too uncomfortable. And I did all the things, in other words, I kept my walls nice and strong, that made me feel good or okay. And as soon as I stopped defending the barriers, the sea of emotion that had been held down by the energy that was now released came up big time. Huge turmoil. Huge. I was helped, definitely helped. Like that dream when I saw myself, in the coffin in the car. From that point on, I was truly dead to the past. In other words, I was caught up in this wave of change, which was just so uncomfortable and so powerful but I couldn't go back because the rug was pulled from under my feet. I had no money coming in. I had no this and no that, and nobody liked me anymore. It's like, all that stuff. That's what I mean. I was helped. But it was like lying on a raft in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean suddenly. I was helped. The energy that was needed to keep the fortress was just released, and that was all. This energy came out in emotion, in creativity, suddenly being happy being with people, just being with others, with other human beings. And before this, I was hiding from them, most of the time. And I started talking more. I'd always been quite withdrawn. I took up playing the Bansuri flute. That was a big challenge. Lots of things happened. It was also tied in with this whole area of lucid dreaming, you see. And I think that part of it was this glimpses of being conscious without the need for a body. Actually, I'm starting to explore it much more now. I can try to describe it. It's definitely sound, but it's a sound of huge energy, electricity. It makes the whole body go like that. As you surrender more and more into it, the body becomes paralyzed, completely paralyzed. You become this body of energy, and that is the point at which you can literally roll out and then just stand there. Then you will see. Everything happens in that plane. Everything happens with thought on a mental plane. So no, you have no senses. It's all vibration and instant. If you find yourself awake in a dream, for example, if you want to go somewhere, you shout it to begin with. You just shout it. Because it's a way of using intention in a very primitive way compared to those who are much more adept at living in that, which we all are, but because we are having this contracted experience in a human body, we are choosing to be sensory in a physical way. But as soon as the body is no longer any limitation, travel, flying, there's no limitations in the same senses. This human experience is pretty unique. In this human experience, we have the opportunity here to experience something which is totally not available elsewhere. It's almost like infinite consciousness contracting into a single point of only being able to experience through these senses, touch and hearing and seeing. It's a fantastic opportunity to develop right brain consciousness, because outside of the limitation of the physical, that mental capacity is all, you see. It's the ultimate way of experiencing or traveling or doing anything. It all ties in with the concept of the Leela again, with the game. This is a game on many levels, infinite levels. And so just that little turn of not being limited to physical body is just another level. I'm not saying that Robert Munro is what he's done and described is anything other than his journey, but what he has discovered is that there are no limitations to what is possible. He talks about spending several years just in his immediate vicinity, exploring the house and visiting friends, in his other body, And after a while, I just got bored. I can't be bothered anymore. I think I'll just stay asleep. This is just boring. I mean, what the hell? There's nobody to talk to or anything. I then handed over all control. You realise that things happen by themselves. Because as soon as you come in and say, I am going to do this, I am doing this, I'm going to leave my body and walk around the house, or I'm going to do this, as soon as you say, I give up, then he went to the next level. See, because the consciousness or whatever it is that we are had enough of that level, because the giving up is a sign that that level is complete. But the giving up has to be real. That's what happens with religion. You see, you go to confession and you go to communion and you get permission to do this, to do that. And that's all about trying to please God and, get into heaven and score your brownie points with St. Peter at the pearly gates and make sure he lets you through because he did this or he did that. It's no different from the way most of us experience life here on this planet. I mean, we walk around wondering who's looking at us and whether we're looking okay or... All the effort comes to an end eventually. And that's the giving up, which is, can't be bothered with all this. All right, you give up. Okay, next level then. Yep. Oh, wow. This world it really is an incredible place, but we don't see it if we guard against it. It needs to be fully experienced. So what is it that we're resisting? Let's look at that one. What areas of this world don't I feel comfortable with? And all we have to do is to feel uncomfortable. Allow the feeling of being uncomfortable, not try to change the world. All consciousness wants is that experience. Okay, I've just heard that 50 children were murdered in Rwanda, and how does that make me feel? Do I go and join the Doctors Without Borders, and do I try to do something about it in a physical sense, or do I allow that feeling and allow it to be transformed, which is what this new album is supposed to be heading? It's allowing everything to trigger in this sensory mechanism and feel it and put it out in the flute, or whatever comes up in the music. That's the way the mind looks at everything. This is not comfortable, the world must be to blame. So I'm either going to change the world or I'm going to suffer. Well, yeah, suffer. Allow the suffering. First of all, you have to get in touch with what suffering is, and suffering is a sensation in the body, ultimately. Because if you take away all the reasons, it's just a sensation, a physical sensation. Take away the reasons, but have an empty mind and feel the pain. That's where the transformation happens, and that transformation will transform out there as well. Ultimately, it will. That's the symbol of poor old Jesus on the cross, you see. He's taking it all. Nails in the hands and feet, crown of thorns. Okay, I'll have it all then. It's not so bad, really, to feel what we're feeling, is it? Only when the head comes in and says, this is really bad. How do I get out of this? That's where the problems come in. It's good to be damaged sometimes, so long as you can still function. And those who cannot function need help. Those who are going through the fire, they don't need help. We must not help them because I've got to save you from the flames. No, those flames they're hard-earned flames, they are. This is your time to start disappearing and to awaken. We want to save people, help people, heal people. Isn't that the case? The effort to improve is creating the problem, the effort to make things better. Because what the mind thinks is better is not how nature would deal with improving. Nature thinks nothing of laying to rest a whole species if it works for the good of the whole. Are we separate from nature? Is nature not who we are, ultimately? Yeah, we have a lot of people here who are going back to the land. Work with the land. Not work on the land, work with it. Watch how the water flows and see the direction the wind blows, all that sort of stuff. Very important. At the same time, though, we are here and we just have to deal with what comes up. And that's going to be different for all of us, One of the hardest lessons is failure, because failure is only a judgment saying, well, I didn't do it the way I thought I was going to do it. That's not failure. It's just, it didn't happen. Move on, because something else will happen. Something always happens. That's the nature. Transcending failure is quite a good way of looking at it. Failure of expectation is the natural failure of those who plan, you see. Because if you plan, you're setting yourself up for failure or possible success, but you're introducing the polarity of success and failure, whereas actually you could just be doing whatever happens. Whether it happens or not is not necessarily important. And I think that's where the purity of the karma yoga comes in, isn't it? So this is the key to everything. This is magic. Not being attached to the outcome. What the hell does it matter what happens? It's like Krishnamurti's famous saying, you don't want to know my secret? I don't mind what happens. This is it, Why do we mind what happens? Something else will happen. It might be better. I've told you stories in our talks about things that have looked really bad, but they actually turned into something really good, but only through the willingness to transcend that failure, see? And that seeming failure. It's really, really magical, and the biggest advice you can give is that, really. Work on transcending failure and also attachment to outcomes. It's like the magic moment when my career began. Of course, I gave up. Nobody was going to listen to my music. I'll go back to Greece. Oh, would you like to come and write music? But only with the real giving up is it possible. But you can't give up. You can't. When we were in Tasmania, we went to visit Port Arthur, where the convicts were all taken. Huge settlement. The British prison ships were full of convicts. They had this island there just off the shore, and that was where all the boys were kept. They'd stolen a loaf of bread or something and sent to the other side of the world. And what they had to go through, living in little boxes with a hole to put your head out, that's nothing. I mean, what we're going through now is nothing compared to all that sort of stuff. And all the slavery, the chains, the whipping, this is man. It's still there, but it's been hidden, occult. It's been hidden and it's starting to come out to the surface. When I started to let down the guard, and all the emotions started coming to the surface, it's ugly in a way, because you realize how much you've wasted your life in a way, because all that energy that has been available has suddenly been released. And what was I trying to protect? There was nothing there to protect. There was nothing there ever. That's God's sense of humor.
Thank you for listening to Facing the Music. We want to extend our gratitude for your company today. For enriching context and further insight into our series, do visit ithesound.com/Terry. We have provided all the pertinent information in the description. For those interested in delving deeper into Terry's compelling journey, his biography, Only Now, is readily available on all major online bookstores. It is an intimate and insightful account of a life dedicated to music and spiritual awakening. Lastly, please visit terryoldfield.com to stay up to date with Terry's latest endeavors. Once again, thank you for your time. This is John Valdivia from ithesound.com.